Welcome back to another episode of Masters in Travel, the podcast where we dive deep into the strategies, stories, and successes that drive our industry forward. Today, we have a special guest who's redefining what it means to run a profitable and fulfilling travel business, Marcie. Marcie is a powerhouse in the travel industry with a unique perspective on how to build a business that not only aligns with your passions, but also maximizes your profits while minimizing your hours. Amen to that. So she's going to challenge us. The old adage that you've heard before, if you aren't working hard, you're hardly working. That doesn't have to be true. And she's going to remind us that smart strategies and intentional boundaries are the key to success. So in this episode, we're going to talk about how travel advisors have the freedom to design their businesses in any way they desire. And she's going to reveal how hobbyists might have it right in some way, that showcasing what's possible to make more money with fewer hours and deliver top-notch service without sacrificing boundaries. We are going to talk about how to get clear on the math behind your business decisions and how to align your passion with your bottom line. So if you're ready to rethink how you work and discover new ways to elevate your travel business, this conversation with Marcie is one you don't want to miss. So let's dive in. Thank you, Marcie, so much for being here. Thank you for being on the podcast. I am super excited to get this conversation going.
Well, thank you. I mean, it's an honor to be asked to be here and really excited. So where do we want to start?
Yeah, you know what? It's so funny. I want to start kind of like how you started, because I feel like you and I, and this is always different for different podcast guests, but you and I didn't have like a personal connection. We didn't really know each other. But I remember specifically when I just came across your profile on social media, and I kind of just literally like took note of it. I was like, you know what? I don't know this girl, but she's saying some things that I could amen. I could get behind that. And I feel like you have this approach that is very you, very honest. Yeah. And the attraction there is like, hey, she's not afraid to say what she actually thinks. And she's not afraid to kind of like push the norms a little bit. And so I'd love to kind of just start with like, hey, you've built this reputation that kind of goes against the status quo in the travel industry, and you're helping other advisors design businesses that really align with their values and their goals. And where did your journey start with all of this? Like, did you just come in with like, hey, I figured out all the success and you guys will just, now I'm going to apply it here? Or how did you kind of get to this place in your business and all of that?
I mean, it's a great question. Obviously, it did not happen overnight. I was actually trained 24/7 hustle, started at a time in the industry really right before the recession. And so almost 18 years ago.
Oh, you've been in the industry a long time.
Yes.
Okay, so you've got some stories.
I do have some stories. Which is ultimately, I got to a place of burnout after about 8 years, and it was devastating, but I had to leave. And I think, I did have to take a couple years off to reset, reformulate, even decide if this was right for my, life, because I had a really rough go of it after, I had 2 kids and I just wasn't spending any time with them. They were in daycare like 12 hours a day because I was working such intense hours. I was sleeping with my phone by my head. I was taking calls at 11 p.m. And I just thought that's how it was done. And every time I would seek something to tone it back, it just seemed like that wasn't, this is normal. This is just how the travel agent industry is. Like, this is how you make money. If you want to make more money, you have to sell more travel. And I was at a decent commission split, but not one that at selling $1 million to $2 million a year. It just wasn't hourly what it should have been. And eventually I literally just threw in the towel at a random day in August. And I had like 5 more weddings to travel that year and I had tons of business, but I was like, frankly, I was like, fuck this. I have to get out of here. Like my marriage was suffering. My relationships with my friends, my family, all they knew of me was that I worked all the time.
Yeah. I think that your story probably resonates with a lot of people. And so I think that the interesting and important thing about this particular conversation is that there's going to be newer advisors who are starting out. And so many of us, we get into this industry or we start our business, and the desire is to find this freedom, to be our own boss, to design
Yes.
this life that we love. And we're like, and I'm passionate about travel, so this is so perfect. And then you get
Right.
in and you get on that hamster wheel and you're like, oh my gosh, like I'm on, like literally every time my phone rings, I'm like, shoot, I got to answer it. And if there's a trip, I must plan it. And you're just trying to build, but then you get super far away from like the reason why you started. And I think so for newer advisors, it's really that listening to this conversation is like, hey, learn from my mistakes. So like,
yes,
you do not want to end up here, but it is very, very easy in an industry like that, like this, for that to happen. And then I think for more experienced advisors, because I hear this all the time and you hear this all the time, it's the burnout. It's like, that's fine. I'm really grateful for, the clients that I have and the book of business that I've built and the money that's in my bank account. But damn, like this is a nonstop 24/7, no days off. And that is not why I started, but I'm here and I don't know how to not be here and still be successful. So
I definitely agree.
Yeah. There's the both sides of it. And so the important thing of having this conversation is to be like, learn from our mistakes.
Yes.
And also, if you're already there, let's rethink how it can look differently. And that's what I want us to talk about today is like, really just like, no, it really can. Here's what it looks like. And you don't need to stay here if this is not fulfilling to you. Now, there are people who love to be workaholics.
Correct.
And more power to you. But like, as where you're at, I have 2 small kids and I'm just like, priorities are different when you have your family and other people who are a priority to you. And it's not just like me, work, work, work. And so I hope that people, if they are looking for a way to change, how to change and not see their businesses suffer, that this is kind of like the beacon of light.
I hope so. I mean, that's why I started. I mean, I came back to travel in 2018 and I knew it had to look different and I wanted to make good money, but I was like, I cannot ever go back. Like I can't do the 24/7. I'm not going to miss another Christmas or a birthday or a friend's birthday. I mean, I like bailed all the time on events. And, I lost an entire Christmas one year and I was like, I am no longer going to work on Christmas. I am no longer going to work on my birthday, my kids' birthdays, my mom's birthday, my husband's birthday. Like I made this decision to get inside my calendar. And when I started to do this, I realized I really am the CEO of my business. I get to decide when I work. And if you want to travel when I'm not working, I'm not the agent for you. It didn't even start to be about just the money. It was like my time is the most valuable commodity. Our time this industry is overwhelmingly women. And I know what women do every day. Like even if you don't have children, your commitments to your family, to your friends, it's serious. To your dog. I mean, we have things, okay? And we can't drop everything every time the phone rings or every time the email dings. So I also took a habit of only checking my email a couple times a day. Stopped obsessing about what I was missing out on or would I piss someone off. It's not that I don't care. It's that we are not heart surgeons.
Yeah.
We're supposed to be having fun and working when we have time to work. And that's why I don't necessarily dislike the hobbyist. I'm a hobbyist. I only work 20 hours a week, maybe in travel now. And it's impactful. It's made a huge difference. And this year I made 6 figures.
Yeah.
For the first time.
Let's just like, because people don't think, and we've all seen kind of the stats, right? That say the median travel agent income what is it? Like 30,000, 40,000?
Like
it's
$44,000 right now.
And I know like most people I come across, you are smart, you are educated, you are driven, all of those things. And I at this point, I mean, I live in California, so I would be on the street. But like
That's all of us though. I feel like the cost of living has exponentially gone up since I started travel, but that average hasn't
it hasn't
really
gone
come
up.
up.
And so a lot of people are looking at that or seeing that in their own, in either like you're just kind of getting started, you're like, it's got to be better than this, or else this is not worth it. Or you really feel super busy and you're working a lot, and that's the payoff. That doesn't work. And also,
No.
so what you're saying is like, hey, I need to be happy with what is in my bank account. And also, I want a 20-hour work week. Can those things go together?
Yes,
Is that
they
actually
can.
look like something that is possible? And so tell me, like, this designing of your dream business where you
Yes.
can work the 20 hours a week and also make six figures. Where did that start to kind of like, you really got that clear vision for this is what it would look like, and this is the kind of thinking outside the box that I'm going to do to make sure that it happens?
I mean, I'm going to say something slightly controversial, but I started to run the numbers and
Okay.
get to know my numbers. And I realized I really like to make money. And it is a very important part of my life. And it is a driving why behind my business, not just helping people, not just serving my community and my friends and family, but like really making money that sustains my family, my lifestyle, my kids' needs. It is
Mm-hmm.
expensive to live. And $40,000 a year was not going to cut it.
Mm-hmm.
And I just couldn't believe like that this was the only way was to hustle 24/7. And I refused to align with that. And so I just took multiple steps over these last few years to make decisions that changed my income, focusing on the income. And I know a lot of people don't care about their income or don't need it because maybe they're in a really solid relationship that is, helpful to them. But
Mm-hmm.
there are a significant amount of women in this industry that don't have a dual income, that
Mm-hmm.
need to be making more money, and they're in charge of everybody else. So they're, like I said, like we're doing a lot. So I started slow. I mean, this did not happen overnight. Like I said, this was the first year I made. I think last year I tipped it. Like
Okay.
it was so close. It was like, after you pay taxes,
Right.
it's like that's like a whole other conversation.
It just screws us all, but yes.
No, but I mean, this year, even with taxes, it's
Yeah.
it's well up there. And I was in shock when I ran my quarterlies. Like I just really, I mean, running those numbers don't lie. I always
Yeah.
say, you lie to yourself, you believe certain truths that aren't true, and your host lies to you, and your colleagues lie to you. But numbers don't lie to you. The numbers speak truth into your business. And if you're not running those numbers, you can never get to six figures because, I mean, you can if you're selling millions of dollars, but I would want you to run them at 400,000, at
Mm-hmm.
600. I want you to run them when you've sold $10,000
Mm-hmm.
because that's where it begins. And it also begins with an appropriate commission split. When
Mm-hmm.
you want to make 100K, you cannot be at 70/30, 60/40, 50/50,
Mm-hmm.
40/60. What the
It just
what?
gets to the like where I'm just like, I
I
don't know.
cannot even. Okay. Like it's the most angry part of like when I talk to agents who are making hellish commitment, like commission splits, like you're never gonna make the money. You can't even make 40,000, like let alone
Yeah.
100. So it really started there and negotiating the terms of my contract and
Okay.
deciding I need to make the best of the best and having conversations before choosing my host, my owner, because I wasn't going to start my own thing. I didn't have the capacity. I really do believe in host agencies. There's lots of good ones out there. So it's a matter of interviewing and really diving deep into how to maximize my commission straight out the gate and
Mm-hmm.
understanding, are there suppliers aligning with what I want to sell and niche? And that's the other thing, is niching,
Mm-hmm.
figuring out what you really want to be good at.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you are the go-to person in luxury cruises, you could just sell luxury cruises and make a lot of money as long as your suppliers and your hosts align and you're at the top commission levels. Like
Mm-hmm.
90/10 is where I want everybody to be, minimum. And we
Yes.
can definitely pay into 100 if you're making six figures. You
Yeah.
can
It
afford
makes it
a
makes sense.
bigger
At a
investment.
certain level, it really makes sense to pay in to get 100 because when
Yes.
you're making more and more and more money, you're not getting more and more and more value from a
Right.
host agency. Typically, it's the inverse, right? Like you know what you're doing. You have your book of business.
Right.
You have all the relationships. You go to all the conferences. You've shook hands with everybody out there, and all
Exactly.
of the things are in place. Now your income is just increasing. Yet you're still getting, and so you're giving more and more and more away.
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't run the numbers,
Run the
just run
numbers.
the numbers. One of my friends said, "I feel like you need a t-shirt that says this," because and I think, like, back to when I was, like, 14 and really hated math, and I think, I was told a lot, like, "Oh, you're just not very good at math," and now I'm like, "I am damn good at math, and I
Yeah,
know how to make money,"
yeah,
and it's not something that can't be taught. You can learn this stuff, and I'm not afraid of a spreadsheet anymore, and my husband loves a spreadsheet, so
yeah.
I immediately, partnered with him and
Yeah,
said,
like,
"I
let's
really
make
wanna
this
do
work on paper so
goals."
I can start going out and doing the
Yes,
thing in real
yes,
life.
exactly.
Okay.
I think, I've always been a destination wedding specialist, a romance specialist, and I don't love it anymore. I mean,
Mm.
it's been wearing on me, and I think there's this, I don't know, this outdated mentality that destination weddings are, like, the only way you can make
Mhm.
a lot of money, and I just disagree. And
Mhm.
those of you out there who are, like, luxury special, you already know this, but
Mhm.
there are so many choices that you can make to maximize your per trip spend. And this is really where it's in the numbers, like really understanding that per trip spend and how to increase it without increasing the amount of travelers you have and without investing more time into your business. You literally have to start with that one client and how to increase the budget they gave you by not asking for a budget, but explaining the budget to them, as well as listening intuitively to what they're saying to you during a consultation so that you can learn to upsell, so that you
Mhm.
can offer things that you know will make this vacation special, even if they went there last year.
Mm.
Want to increase that per person spend year over year. Imagine running the number just $1,000. Like, how do I make $1,000 more? It's $100 commission times 10 trip.
Mm. Mhm.
So
Mhm.
it's figuring out how much I need to increase these trips per trip to get another $1,000 in my bank account at Christmas time or wherever.
Right, right.
Yeah,
That's
and
where it
really
starts.
understanding the math and taking your time, and that's ultimately where I started. So it's the commission split, and then it was, okay, how do I get these, especially my return clients, to spend a little bit more and enjoy their trip a little bit more? I mean, I didn't used to sell tours. I was like, "Oh, just get there and figure it out when the."
Right.
What? Marcy, like, leaving all the like, there's just piles of cash. I'm like,
Just like,
"No,
whatever,
like,
yeah.
what? No, stop saying that.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
dive deep into the tours, upgrade their transportation." Those are the small things that elevate of experience, give service to them, and it's a win-win. You kick back $30 here, $50 here.
And it
It
all adds
adds
up.
up. It
Yeah.
adds up so fast, trip over trip. And of course, like, eventually I was like, they don't wanna spend more money, but, like, I need them to spend more money. So developing a minimum spend was a
Mm.
big deal, and it's hard, you guys. It's probably one of the hardest things I implemented into my business, but
Mm.
and a lot of people are like, "Well, how do you figure this out?" And I do have, some resources coming out really soon that you can
Yeah,
learn these skills, but just to shortly tell you, it's developing a decision, like, how much per booking do you wanna make?
yeah.
That's your minimum spend, like, what they have to spend for
For
you to
you
get
to
to that.
make that
That
amount.
is your minimum spend. So for me at first coming back into travel, I was like, it's 5,000. I have to get them to spend 5,000. Well, now it's not 5,000. It's
Yeah,
closer to the five-figure mark,
yeah.
and it depends on the trip. So for all inclusive, it's different than my European FITs, which
Right.
I took on as a new niche during the pandemic. And I think it's just something that you have to decide, like, how much money per booking do I need to make to live the lifestyle I want to live, and how much of those do I have to do per month? So that way I'm only doing 5 or 6 trips a month or one big group a month, because I don't want to work 40, 50, 60 hours a week, because I have all these people calling me because I don't limit my intake. So at the same time of raising your minimum spend to creating a limit, you can provide higher levels of service. You decide that you're not going to do more than 8 trips a month, and you're making $1,000 a trip because you want to get to that commission with a comma, which leads to the number that you need for them to spend.
Yeah. So
It's
it's really like
all
the
numbers.
working backwards. Once you do the work on the spreadsheet, you work
Yes.
backwards to make it all work in real life. And I think that
Yes.
most of the time it's easy for us to be reactive instead of proactive, right? Like,
Of course.
oh, this is how much money I made. Okay. Like, yeah, it's like and versus this is how much money I want to make. How am I going to make it? And
Right.
and I think the mindset shift even is a
Oh my
little
gosh.
bit of a misconception that goes on in the industry, is that we are this like the take what we get versus the like get what we want. And the get what we
Yes.
want is what you're trying to teach. It's like, no, if this is what you said, like this is what makes sense. I need, 5 bookings a month, 10 bookings a month, whatever the case may be, at this amount. Therefore, the trip needs to look like this. The trip needs to spend this. A trip needs to be under these parameters. If not, I pass. I say
Yes.
thanks, but no thanks. This doesn't fit my business model. And that's a very big, for a lot of people, mindset shift, because it goes against kind of like what we were taught or what we just started off, because when we start off, we just want everything that will come our way. But if to get to this idea of like, no, I'm running the ship here, you do have to change that mindset of how you approach business and what you accept.
You have to. And I see it every day in my own Facebook group for travel advisors. It's like they are scared. They are, they're brainwashed to do it the other way. They've been told from day one, take everything you can get. And it's like, no, stop that. When you say no to something that does not align with your business, you are saying yes to alignment coming through the door. And it's scary to say no when you don't have a lot of income coming in, especially if you're new. But I can tell you, I can almost promise you, if you make this shift, you're taking back control. You're allowing yourself to meet the right client and giving space to that client. Like, you can't do 50 crap trips and expect to have time for a lucrative client.
Yeah.
And I always say, like, I understand everybody deserves to go on a vacation, because this is the big pushback. Oh, well, just because she doesn't have $8,000 doesn't mean she doesn't deserve a vacation. 100%. Everyone deserves a vacation, but that is not my client. There
Right.
is someone out there for them,
Right.
but it is absolutely not me. And it is not my clients. It is not my clients, because my clients are looking for commission with a comma, and we are unashamed. And this is what we specialize in to get to that. And so it's another step, is deciding to move up into a higher market, a higher value product, understanding preferred partnerships, building relationships within really high paying industry, part of our industry. I mean, you have so many higher level hotels now to choose from that are close to top 4-star, 5-star, and you're going to make more money if you're selling more of those. And so that was a shift I made, where I was like, I'm not selling 3 and low 4-star hotels ever again. If that's what you want, you're not my client. And on top of that, in 2020, I made that big decision to charge a fee. So that is part of getting to 6 figures, because you have to charge your value. And it's scary, but 71% of us are charging a fee now. So I'm really
Which is
proud of everybody.
yay,
Yes, it's like,
amazing.
so it could really affect your bottom line. I mean, last year,
100%. It makes a huge difference. I
oh
mean,
my God.
and
Yeah.
it's all going to be relative, right? Because depending on the type of travel you do and all of that, like what the market is going to accept as a fee or whatever, But when I look at my numbers, if I took out my fees, oh, like I don't want that. Absolutely
No,
not.
no. I mean, our fees are really what shows value. And if you're new and you're listening to this, I would just say start today. Don't wait.
Yeah.
You know more about your business than anyone else. And it is so important to value your time. You're training, you're doing all this work, you're learning, and that is worth something. And so don't look at it as, a lot of people like to compare us to lawyers online. I'm like, that's a highly educated situation. I prefer I prefer to, it's like I can't be my own lawyer. I don't know how to do that. So I always think,
Right.
no, 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 no. We're looking at housekeepers. We are comparing this to getting your car detailed. We're getting the, lawn care, pool care, because you don't need those things. You don't need to, you could do them yourself,
Yeah.
but there's all kinds of videos teaching people how to clean now. Like, I don't know how to clean. I don't want to learn. And so I have a housekeeper. I don't need her, but I can't live without her now. Let's be
Right.
honest. And I would not want to travel without me if I was a client because I take care of you.
Yeah.
She takes care of me. That's what I compare us to. Those unneeded luxury items that anybody could do, but we don't have time. We don't have energy. We don't have expertise in cleaning hardwood floors. So I hire somebody to do that.
And every time I try to do it myself, it's like, meh.
There is this
One.
freak. I can't get rid of. I'm like, I don't know how she gets this so clean. I'm like, and I don't really want to learn.
Nope, sure don't. I have other things I want to do with my time.
I just love partnering with my clients too. Like, I consider us, you don't have to give up control. You don't have to, hey, like, this is the only way. Again, this is designed by you. If you want to design your business, really take that seriously. Like, start small, start with those transfers, upgrading, then start with adding a fee, just slowly move into a luxury market, learn about the things that you want to travel. And a lot of people will say, Marcie, nobody's going to pay for that. I mean, who's going to pay $14,000 to go to an all inclusive? That's crazy. Why is it crazy? It exists. So
therefore, there are people out there paying for it. The rooms are not empty.
I mean, beaches, Turks, and Caicos is super hard to book because it's filled up with people who are spending asinine amounts of money. So I'm like, why can't it be you that sells it?
Yeah.
Why can't it be you that serves them? Why not you? That's the biggest thing. Why not you?
Right. That is such a profound question. And I think that's what I know from you is kind of like what you're helping people truly ask themselves. So when they're in your Facebook group or in one of your programs, it's this idea that yes, like the fear is what comes up for so many people. It's like it's a mindset of scarcity almost, right? And it's like,
oh, it is.
And how do we get past that? And so what you're saying is kind of like number one, maybe it's the small steps moving in the right direction, right? It's starting like, you know what? My time is worth more. I am going to charge a fee every time I work on a booking. You know what? Like this would make their experience better to have these elements of their trip to stay at this type of property. I'm going to get comfortable suggesting that and offering that and saying like, hey, this is what I do. And you're just kind of like teaching people these small steps, these small ways to kind of like make the move towards what they want and challenge that fear mindset, that scarcity mindset.
Absolutely. And I used to train under somebody. I had a mentor in a different position I was in during my break, and she called it releasing the outcome. So when you say, hey, what do you think about this? Or would you ever consider that swim out suite? Release the outcome. Like, don't make it about you. You didn't suggest something horrible. Like, you're just offering, you told me you love to go to the swim up bar, and there's this property that has this beautiful suite that literally faces the swim up bar, and you can get off your patio into the water. If you paint that picture, and they're like, oh my gosh, that sounds amazing. Like, what can we do to get that? It's like, well, let me talk Let me talk to you more about that. Let me show you the difference.
Mm-hmm.
And just really presenting it. This is not a hard sell. And like when you listen to what they've said, right? And then when you offer it, just release the outcome. What they decide has nothing to do with you. It's what
Yes.
they deem important to them and
And you
figuring out
are
their
you are letting
priorities.
them know this is available to you.
Yes. Imagine they get to the resort and you didn't tell them that there was a swim out room that led directly to the pool. Who are they going to think of then?
Yeah.
Oh, she didn't even tell me that that existed.
Yeah.
And they're probably going to march their butts right up to the front desk and upgrade
And
because
then you lose out on all
I
that
mean,
difference.
yeah, you miss that. And it's like, don't be afraid to offer. The
Yes.
worst case scenario is they say, not interested. We just want to go back to that other room. It's fine. We're never going to be in the room, which we all know is a lie.
Right. And a lot of people love that line. Like,
Oh
it's the
my gosh.
room's not that
I
important.
love,
Yes, it is.
I love that. And we can get all into that. But I really just believe that if you trust yourself to like take it up a notch, just make it more. Somebody said, oh, it just sounds so salesy. I was like, did what I said? Like, I just said, hey, you guys love this idea. What about this idea?
Yeah.
It's not, you have to buy it. It's, I want to make sure you know about it. And if you create that for them, if you create that memory, that moment of like stepping out onto that patio with the swim up room and the views of the beautiful pool and the pool bar that they wanted to have access to, they're going to immediately only think of how awesome you are. Like,
Yes.
wow, she was right.
We
Like
love this.
we love to be right.
Yeah.
And I love to be right. So it's just one of those, it's just a tweak. I always
Yeah.
tell my clients, it's just a little tweak to how you present it. And it's a little tweak to giving yourself permission
Yeah.
to honor your client through the opportunity.
Yeah. I think so.
You're gonna,
This is something that you seem to do fairly well, and you seem really confident in it, which is, I think, probably what makes you so successful in helping other people kind of like learn those tactics of conversation and communicating. Like, hey, here's the value, here's the thing. And one thing that you said to me when we were chatting that like really stuck with me is this idea of being comfortable with. And I don't want to say it wrong, but something about being comfortable with your own money, so that like when you go into these conversations, you're approaching it different. And so
yeah.
I'm assuming that this is something like when you're teaching people how to increase their commissions, this is such a huge part of it. Almost like this is where you need to be comfortable so that you enter the conversation with this level of confidence and assurity in what you're saying and how you're saying it so that it comes off like people, because people can read when you're like you're uncomfortable, right?
Oh,
For
yes. I
sure.
mean, yeah. So I mean, I didn't always travel luxury. I had to work up to it. I wasn't making any money.
Yeah.
So, but you have to be comfortable with where you are in your life and how you travel. And just because it's not how, or maybe how they want to travel, it's like you don't have to sell from your own pocket. And
Mm-hmm.
so you have to get comfortable with talking about money, understanding money, and then not making any assumptions about somebody else's money.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I
Yes.
mean, we do not know homeless most of the time. But I now only go to five-star properties. And I look homeless at five-star properties sometimes. But it wasn't not the, out of the gate, back when I came back in 2018, I wasn't going to those properties, but I knew they were fabulous and I knew I could learn about them and I knew I could educate and understand the price point. And I knew I could design this for my clients. And so it was just like, you have to be okay with where you are so that you can meet them where they are.
Mm.
You're uncomfortable presenting a price to somebody or scared, like, I can't do this because what if they say, holy crap, or whatever? It's like, it doesn't matter what they say. Release the outcome
Yes.
and be comfortable with what the price is so that you can confidently give them the price based on what they told you they want and how you can elevate it. They came to you for advice. Advise them.
Mhm,
Please
mhm.
advise them. They can say no. They can take things out and put things in. They can say, "Oh, we love this." What if somebody came to you and you decided to present them with something a little above their budget, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, she totally knows me. Like, this is more expensive, but I think I wanna spend more time there.
Right.
Like, how much is that gonna cost?" That's a sales cue from the heavens, and you wouldn't have had it if you didn't push the boundary of your own comfort and fully embraced giving them something you know they're going to love instead of second best because it's in the budget.
Yes, yes.
Like, come
We
on.
we screw ourselves, and I'm speaking because it's not that I haven't done this myself, as
Oh,
well. But we screw ourselves so much by accepting what they say their budget is, and
mhm.
also like this trip that they described, which we already know. I mean, if you're new, it takes some time to figure out. But those of us who have been around the block a couple of times, I know that that trip they just described is not in alignment with that budget that they gave me.
Right.
This is a conversation we need to have. Do you want this trip? Great. This is how much you actually should be prepared to
Right.
spend. That's a very important conversation that people need to get comfortable with having because, listen, we are the ones day in and day out learning about these products, these hotels, these destinations, knowing the cost, even from the last 3 to 5 years, how crazy
Oh my
prices
gosh.
have gone. We are in this day to day. I know what your 10-day trip to Italy that includes the Amalfi Coast is going to cost. I really do.
Correct.
You can tell me what you think you want to spend, but now you're not staying on the Amalfi Coast if you want to spend that much. So why do we shrink away from saying, this is a beautiful trip you've described? This is what you should be prepared to spend to have this
Right.
experience. Like, what do you think it like? Number one, what is it that like scares us to say that? But also, like, how important is it to kind of get over that fear? Because
Yeah.
this is how we get in the driver's seat and also
Yes.
increase our commissions.
Yeah. I call it like on the train, off the train because it's
Mm.
like this is a moving vehicle. Like it's moving fast too. It's like and if you've ever taken any of my training, I'm like, you got to figure out if you're driving the train or if you're a passenger on
Mm.
their train
Yes, yes,
because
yes. That's
they're
a
going to
good
take you
analogy.
all over
Yeah. You're just
if
sitting
you
there
let
like,
them. You're
oh
like,
my
what is happening?
God.
But if you keep asking, what is your budget? They don't know.
Yeah.
They don't know. And they lie. They
Yeah.
don't mean to lie. I'm
Right.
not saying like, I think they come in like, I'm going to lie, but they're going to undershoot because
Always. Yeah.
value, they don't understand the value. So it's all about building confidence that you are educating.
Uh-huh.
You
Okay.
have to get
Yeah.
in the mindset of
Of
education.
education.
And part of
Yes.
the education is not just how wonderful the Amalfi Coast is, but how much it costs. This
Yes.
is a very special destination that the influencers have made more expensive. We love the Amalfi Coast. We want you to experience it, but
Yeah.
you're going to have to bring the heat. I say stuff like that. I say, "Oh my gosh, I really hope you're ready to bring the heat."
Yeah. Yeah.
And then literally, immediately if
Yeah.
you're not prepared.
They're like, wait a second, wait a
Like,
second.
it's like,
Oh,
oh,
we'll go to Florida. It's fine.
oh,
Yeah.
oh, is it a way to make it cheaper? Sure. Let's talk about
Yeah.
how to make it less expensive. You have to go less nights. You
Yeah.
have to go in off season.
Yeah.
Then you get to be creative and show your expertise even more.
Mhm.
Like it's an opportunity to continue the conversation. And it's not salesy to say, this is what it costs. But if you need it to be a more affordable, there's some compromises you have to make. Who
Mhm.
wants to make a compromise?
Not on my vacation to Italy that I've been dreaming about for 10 years.
Correct. So
No.
let's
Let's
get
figure out.
real.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. And yes, this takes a long time to learn this skill. I'm not going to sit here and say out of the door, you're going to be able to do this. But if you practice,
Right.
you will get better and you need to be vulnerable with your clients. I am a big believer in transparency. So,
Mm.
like, for example, the other day somebody said, Marcie, I am so sick and I have a really big consultation with somebody tonight and I just don't think I can do it. And I don't know what to tell her. And I was like, please tell her that you're very sick.
Mhm.
Please be as honest as possible, or your kid is sick, or your husband fell out of a tree. I don't know. Like, don't say, something came up.
Right.
Literally say,
Yeah.
I am so sick. I can't speak. I'm so not in a position to be able to give you my best. And you don't say sorry. You don't say anything about being a flake. I used to say that. I'm not normally a flake like this. Stop saying,
Yeah.
stop
Yeah.
validating being ill. Like, it's okay to be sick. And I think that's really hard for women. I
Yeah.
think it really is, because we want to show up. We're people pleasers. We said we were going to do this. We're going to show up. We're going to do it. We're going to do it 110%, even if we have a fever
Right.
and our head's in the toilet. Like, no,
Right.
Please take a breath and say the honest truth. And that's when you start telling people the truth about even who you are and what's going on with you. It's a lot easier to present a real price.
Yeah.
if
Because they don't think you're bullshitting them. It's just like, this is the real deal. Like, I am like, it's being vulnerable, like, and recognizing, like, they're a human, you're a human. Like, there's points of connection here. And the more we can find those points of connection, the more they're going to be able to trust me.
Yes. Like no trust is not a myth. That is not a myth.
Yes.
We've been fed a lot in sales, but that is not one of them. And the only way you can be that way is to never lie. It's literally to never make up a white lie about being in another meeting because you didn't answer the phone, which used to be how that's what I was taught. If you miss a call, tell them you were in a meeting. Why? I was feeding my kid. Like, and I don't actually have to tell them why I missed the call, by the way. There's so much that plays into this part of who we are. Like, it's okay to have kids. It's okay to work another job while you are being a travel advisor, because the majority of travel advisors are doing something else.
You have to start out that way, unless, like you said, you have income that you are going to provide isn't needed for, for your family or for your home to run or whatever, like that. We all know, like, the on-ramping of actual money making, there's a while, and it's, the difference is, it's different for all of us. But that first year, Uncle Sam didn't even care I existed.
It was rough. It was like, it was rough for a couple years.
Yeah. Keep your 2 pennies. You're fine. Like, we'll pay you. Like,
it's fine. This industry is, I think that's the myth. If you've not started yet, you're not going to make money for several months, maybe years. And
years. Yeah.
It can be years for me to really say I had an income coming in. It was like the third year, and it was low, and I was barely able to pay my credit card. I think it's just those moments actually don't have to exist quite like that now. If you are willing to listen to ulterior theories of how to run your business. And I believe in calendar control to the point of, if it is not on my calendar, it is not real. It didn't happen. It's not going to happen. And one of the things I coach is, if you can get your calendar under control and go to an appointment only model, you are more professional. You are serious. So it doesn't matter if you have another job, because this is when you take appointments.
Right. Exactly.
Instead of trying to
you were not free. Nobody told you I was free. So I am obviously not free, because that's not the time that I've given you where I'm available.
Correct. And if you're in an appointment only model, you are dedicating that time to them, which is extremely valuable and should come with a fee. But beyond that, stop quoting in the DMs expecting to make money.
No. Yeah.
That is never going to get you to commissions with a comma. And even if it's off chance that one person books some insane cruise or something, fine. But that is not the norm. You're going to be quoting and getting ghosted because those people refuse to make an appointment, or you didn't even tell them to make an appointment.
Yeah. You just went and did the work.
An appointment. Yes. You just jump right in. You didn't even talk to them. Like, we have to qualify our clients to level up to the next commission, because the more you qualify, the more you're listening, the more you can talk to them about what they need to spend. Nobody actually knows where they want to go.
Yeah.
They don't even, even if they bring a cruise, I hear this all the time. Oh, well, she just dropped the cruise right in my DMs, and she wanted this and she wanted that. And it's so easy. I'm like, did you call her? Did you ask her, why did you choose this cruise? Maybe you could find a different ship for her that's even better fit. She's not an expert in cruising. You
Right,
are.
right.
You
She
know,
heard
it's
about
like,
one cruise that her cousin went on that said she,
yeah.
and so now this is a
Oh my
cruise
God.
of
With an
all
inside
cruises.
cabin. Like, it was fine. I didn't need to see the ocean the whole time I was on the boat. Like, what?
What
No.
are you doing?
At least get her on the phone to offer her the balcony. Like, come on.
At least.
Talk to her.
Yeah.
You know, really figure out what they want. I mean, if we want to increase our commissions, we have to drive the train. We
Yes.
cannot let them take over. And I don't mean you're not going to listen or take part, like they don't get to take part, but you're not going to let them tell
You're
you
not
how
an order taker. Yeah.
your business. Yes, we are
Yeah.
not just booking agents. We are travel advisors with expertise. And so
Yes.
I mean, I can't even finish a thought at this point. Like I'm just glad to have gotten a lot of this in because I teach a lot of this stuff and I see the changes in these travel advisors.
Yes.
Girl, it is like a light shining down. And it happens quite quickly if they're a little bit more veteran or even if they're not, because it works.
Which is
My
great. Which is
strategies
great
work.
because I think, I mean, listen, if you're starting out, like I always say, I love helping and teaching and mentoring other travel
Yes.
advisors because I can say, don't do what I did. Listen, I'm going to
Oh
share
my
all of
God.
my mistakes and I'm going to say, do not do that, do not do that, do not do that. That was terrible. I don't know why I ever did that. And I am very happy to be like, you know what? I've done this. I've been there. Don't do this. Like at least learn from me. And so that's the great beauty that we can share with newer advisors. But I love this so much because burnout is literally the number one thing that experienced, successful, and I'm using air quotes, advisors share is because how successful are you when you're hating what you do, right? Like when
Oh
you
my God.
you are not,
Yes.
that isn't success anymore. And so this
Right.
idea of like, yes, we want to still maximize our revenue and all of that, but the boundaries while still being able to provide a high quality service, it exists. It's possible. Like what we're sharing with you today is like this, it's not one or the other. You can't, leave your boundaries open and that's the only way that people are going to believe that they're getting great service. There's boundaries that allow you to give your best and protect you because you matter too.
Yes. And the only person who can implement boundaries in your business and your life is you.
Yeah.
You
Nobody else is
can't
coming
be
like,
mad.
wait a second, don't take that call. That's dinner time. Nobody else is going to do that for you.
Exactly. I mean, I won't lie, my kids will tell me, like, don't answer your phone. But like, you are in charge of you. You can be the CEO of your business, even if you're an IC. Like, you are in charge of your own business. You pay your own taxes. You make the rules. And if you decide to break the boundary because somebody messaged you at 8:00 on a Sunday, you can't be mad at them. They're just messaging you when they're thinking about it. If you respond, you're training them to assume you're always going to respond. So pause.
You're right.
Pause. I call it the pre-K pause. I stole it from an influencer and I just love him. And it's, he always says pre-K pause. Like it's all it takes is like a little pause and I'm going to think about this for a second before I respond. Because we often respond like, I can get that to you in 5 minutes. You like make a promise you shouldn't be promising.
Right.
And then, it turns into this, like I go down the rabbit hole of losing my Sunday because I chose to respond at 8 a.m. instead of just waiting until Monday because I was afraid they were going to book online. If they book online, so be it. Not your right client. But what my clients are finding is that they wait.
Yeah. The right clients wait.
The right clients wait and they are, oh my gosh, they're so surprised. They're like, oh my gosh, I didn't respond. And then I waited and I paused and then I called them on Monday and they were so happy to hear from me and it was no big deal. It's like you are literally telling yourself lies. So stop lying to yourself. Stop making it about them. Stop making it about the client or the prospect being annoying. Oh my God, can you believe she texted me at like 9 p.m.? I'm like, well, maybe she didn't get off work till 8:30. And maybe she's now thinking about this because you emailed her yesterday. I don't know. But it's not her fault that you respond at 9:30 at night.
Yes,
Come
yes.
on.
This goes back to like the dating advice that I always used to give my friends. It's like you teach people how to treat you. And it's the same thing in business.
Mhm.
It's like when you are doing the thing that now shows them that that is okay, then that's on
Mhm.
you. That is not on them. That is no sweat off their back. Maybe they love texting at 11 p.m. And if
Okay.
you are game, then that's great. Like you have now showed them that it's okay. So it's up to us to teach people how to treat us. And like this idea that like I can only, if it only works for them in a certain way and that's not what works for you, that is okay. The
Yes.
alignment piece of finding the right clients for the type of business that
Mhm.
is best for us and aligns with our passion and our purpose and all of that kind of stuff. That's out there. It's out there for everyone.
Absolutely.
And we're all going to be on different, slightly, different sides of the spectrum, but there should be some like norms that I hope that we can all kind of like fall into and then really, really craft and curate like this is what works for me. And I'm going to find the clients that respect that, honor that, value that, and it's going to work for them as
Yes.
well. Everybody's happy.
Yes, it should be a win-win,
Yeah.
and a client that respects your time, energy, and expertise is so much more valuable than chasing someone down some crazy rabbit hole in the middle of the night via DMs. I mean, we just have to respect our own time more
Yeah.
and really value like our own expertise and knowledge. And even if you're new, you still know more than this client.
Yeah.
Like when you work, how you work, who you work with, those are all the parts of our business. It's not even about the products at that point. It's about you.
Yeah.
So I just really want travel advisors to see themselves differently. I want to
Mm-hmm.
change this industry from hustle culture to really honoring yourself as the CEO of your business. Even if you
Mm-hmm.
don't have a team or even if you can't
Mm-hmm.
afford an assistant yet, these things are coming for you if you are willing to embrace like doing things differently than we've been trained. Like, no
Yes.
more gaslighting us. Like, we don't have to work like this anymore.
Yeah.
And the only person who can make a change in your business is you.
We are the drivers. We are in the driver's seat. We are in the driver's seat.
Yes, 100%.
I'm so excited because I think that this is going to be a great, like, try it on, sit with it, let it seep into your soul type of conversation.
Yay.
But really giving people the opportunity to make choices on how to align their passion with profit. Like, listen, I'm with you. I'm making
Yes,
money here. I got a lot of things in my back pocket that I could do, but I'm doing this number one because I am super passionate about travel and seeing the world, but I am also passionate about providing for my family and giving us the life that we want and
absolutely.
they can live together. So if people are just like, yes and amen, more of this, please. How can they just learn more about kind of like the way that you encourage and coach and teach this idea of just changing our
Mhm.
mindset, shifting our thoughts and really learning to march to the beat of the drum that is right for us?
Yes.
How can they go deeper?
I have lots of opportunities. I have a website, thetraveladvisormarcie.com, and that's my Instagram handle. And I do a lot of fresh content weekly there. And I'm in my stories a lot doing like coffee talks where, lots of stuff. I have freebies on my website and all of my courses are there. And I have a group called Maximize Your Travel Advisor Business, building profit. It's all about having a profitable career and
Mm-hmm.
easily search for it, but we'll link it. It's a really great resource if you're new because I post daily tips on how to honestly get to commission with a comma. We talk a
Yeah.
lot about
Yeah.
money in my group and I know that's not always a comfortable space, but I'm hoping to make talking about money more comfortable because I want to see travel advisors succeed at every level and make a profitable income so they can travel, so they can design their life, not just their business. And I just want you to know there's other choices out there you can make without burning out, grinding your fingernails to the bone to find, this career. It should be fun. It's travel
Yes.
like lends itself. I'm not saying we're just planning vacations, but this shouldn't be so serious. We should be really relaxed and enjoying it. Yes, we have to deal with some things. I get it. But those things are a small, minute part of a much bigger picture that encompasses who we are as travel advisors. So, yeah.
Yes, I love that. I love that. So, yes, anybody who is interested in making sure that their commissions come with a comma over and over and over again, like, you are so great at coaching people, giving people, the permission really to kind of like start to design their business in a way that supports their life and encouraging them and teaching them how. And a lot of times it's like those scripts that we need to get more comfortable with, or those ways of looking at things, those small shifts. You'll notice that throughout this whole conversation, we never said like, go find more clients, go like grow your book of business. That's not it. And so there's other ways to get to where you're trying to go. And I believe that Marcie has her finger on the pulse of a really, really great way to get there. So I am thankful for you sharing your brilliance with us today. And I hope that people follow along and figure out how that you can help them personally if that is what they're looking for. So thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited. Thank you so much for letting me have a voice to share it.
You have a great message, and I know that people are going to get something from it. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.